Hello, my name is James Byrne, and I'm starting a new YouTube channel, and it's called Joseph Smith Was Monogamous, Not Polygamist. Now, this is something I've been studying over the last year or more, and I've, deeply dived into all the research and listened to other YouTube channels on this subject. I've read books and many resources and references that I felt I should do something myself. Uh, Being a historian and feeling that this is subject matter, polygamy, is something that I need to look into because it is part of the history of the church that I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I sort of, like so many members, accepted, understood, though I wasn't at all favorable or happy about the principle of polygamy. I thought it was of God, um, and that Joseph Smith did indeed practice it, but how wrong I was. And it's only as I saw other YouTube channels on this subject matter that I seem to be most interested to find out for myself about it. Because another thing, 1890, there was a manifesto brought forward by Wilford Woodruff, the president of the church back then, which disallowed, discontinued polygamy. And there was the impression, maybe still is with many members, that at some future time this principle might be restored again. But uh, it's it's not going to be the case because polygamy never was of God in the first place. Never was, never is, never will be. Just like slavery. Could we imagine slavery being reintroduced? So you will see over um, coming episodes, I shall be addressing. First thing I want to address is the scriptural point, showing the scriptures clearly indicate polygamy, abominations, whoredoms, adultery is not of God, is abomination, and God's anger is kindled against such people. We'll talk about the translation of the Bible that shows parts that God wasn't happy with King Solomon or David, and other things about Abraham and Moses that practiced these things. But there's episodes and all this kind of thing from the need of records, affidavits, uh, Joseph Smith's denial and denouncing of it, the fact that he excommunicated members. He put charged liberious charges against individuals who misused his name, uh, like like blasphemy. That is used. His good name was tarnished when he was vehemently, totally opposed to the principle. Uh, Hiram Smith too was a strong opponent, denouncer of polygamy. We have a timeline of these events because it's interesting to see that if the polygamy section of Doctrine and Covenants 132 was brought in July of 1843, why months before or months after this alleged section 132 was brought out were Joseph and Hyrum, totally opposing it, denouncing it, bringing people to account for their actions because they were going to be excommunicated from the church if they practiced it. We'll be talking about the revisions that was done because the leaders who took over after Joseph Smith died were polygamous leaders. So if in journals, the newspapers, the Times and Seasons, and in the Doctrine and Covenants 101, which was the marriage section, that if it clearly stated one man, one woman, nothing else, everything else was condemned and forbidden. So if there was talks and journal entries and whatever else that showed that Joseph Smith spoke against the principle, no doubt the polygamous leaders who took over after he had died would have to revise the notes, and things will show that there was revisions done. So as I say, there was individuals cut off for practicing, excommunicated for practicing polygamy. There was a happiness letter which was trying to misalign Joseph Smith's good name, proved to be a forgery. We'll talk about anti-polygamy rally, talk about interviews that was held with Emma Smith, Joseph's wife, and the Relief Society, what they did, meetings showing that they were against it, and they signed a collective document showing that this spiritual wife system is not belonging to the church. We'll speak about the Joseph and Emma's son, Joseph Smith III, William Marks, who was the stake president. We'll speak about Brigham Young and his remarks and other things that he promoted as of God when polygamy was not of God. We'll talk about James Whitehead, who was a neighbor on a farm next to Joseph Smith, who never in his life as a private secretary or clerk witnessed any wives in his lifetime. We'll speak about the effects, the negative, bad effects of polygamy. We'll show about supposed wives of Joseph Smith. Now remember, supposed wives, because any of these affidavits that were made 20, 25 years or longer after Joseph had died, and it was made such that when these affidavits started to come out in the 1869 onwards, when the sons of Emma and Joseph visited Utah to say how their father had never practiced it. So then the president, it would have been Joseph F. Smith, tried to gather up affidavits, speak about that. the case of the supposed wives. Now, remember, there was no marriages during Joseph Smith's life that's been recorded. Historians in family history centers have not uncovered anything to show during Joseph Smith's life that he had married anyone. And that's the reason I put in the need for record. Joseph Smith had a revelation on the need for records to be kept. So even if it was a secret marriage, records would need to be kept for it to be um, recorded both on earth and in heaven. So as to say, the effects of polygamy, the sealing and adoption, and other people will speak about, like William Smith, William Law, William Clayton, um, and other things that are of value and interest. And I look forward releasing some of these episodes over coming weeks or month, depending on how my working schedule goes and that. But I believe that polygamy is not of God, never was, never is, never will be. And the scriptures prove that. Joseph Smith's denouncing of it, Hiram and Emma denouncing of it too, and that we taint Joseph Smith badly, that he was involved with a practice when he wasn't. He condemned it. And we'll we'll talk also, I forgot to mention, about Doctrine and Covenants 132, which is the polygamous section, which was brought to the members of the church in 1852, 8 years after Joseph had died. We'll talk about that and show how it's dubious and there's grounds to see that there was something not right with it. Because in scripture, God cannot contradict himself. If God is on one hand saying that it's an abomination and it's evil, both in the Book of Mormon, especially and powerfully, in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, it gave out that kings couldn't multiply wives. We'll go into more detail. So these are big topics in themselves. So I'm not going to go into any detail here. This is just for an introduction of the channel, and you know, feel free if you can write any comments and give me any feedback, or made any mistakes, please correct me along the way and I'll correct the things. But it's to put this narrative forward that I don't like the idea, being a historian myself, that a narrative that Joseph Smith was involved in polygamy when he wasn't, and that has been the accepted narrative that historians have given us, and that apparently to some people it's a conclusion. It's beyond debate. But no, you will see that I'm going to present things here to you that will, put it in your mind. I'm going to give you scriptures. I'm going to give you references. I'm going to give you documents that it's not hearsay, because the documents, particularly throughout all of these things, are the Joseph Smith papers, which are the official documents that the church has released to the membership of the church, and will certainly be making use of them, and that I'll be putting the links and whatever in the coming episodes that you will see. So thank you for listening, and look forward to sharing some of these episodes with you. Bye for now. Take care.